And we begin round number one, and as for Escalante, 29 years old. His last bout was April 14th at the Storm House in Salinas, and Doug, I was at that bout, calling it alongside our good friend Beto Duran. I'll be honest, we did not think he beat Duil Olguin, gifted an 8-round decision, so...
That's not good. Olguin is a journeyman.
Yeah, that you should
That's what
beat.
he is. He's a guy, he's there to be beat. And he doesn't lay down or whatever. He does try, but if you're a solid fighter, you beat him. Now, maybe it was a bad night, but
guys,
makes me wonder.
Do my eyes deceive me, or is Marin much bigger than Escalante in there?
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah.
5 inches taller. He's got 4 inches in his wingspan. He's filled out nicely from the weigh-in. Walked out to some cold music, some AC/DC there, so he's looking to do some damage and basically back up that tough talk from the weigh-in.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is a harbinger or not. Speaking of Michael Ruiz, that is a common opponent both men have. While Marin scored a second-round knockout, Escalante lost an 8-round decision.
And that second-round knockout that Marin scored was in April of this year, so he's got some good momentum coming into this bout.
Under a minute to go here in round number one. Not all that much has happened here in the first frame between Marin and Escalante. Escalante just basically content to kind of box from the outside, move around the perimeter of the ring. Haven't been really any heavy punches landed by either man, although it has been Marin more or less playing the role of aggressor.
Landed some nice body shots there. It was a nice right cross landed twice by Marin. I think he's definitely winning this opening round.
There's no doubt. Then he did punctuate that with the left hook that he planted to the side of Escalante. And that's the end of round number one, finished off strongly by Marin. Once again, we are live here at the Forum. Superfly 3 coverage brought to you by 360 Promotions. I'm Steve Kim, joined by Doug Fisher and Cynthia Conte. A busy night of boxing still to come. In about 40 minutes, HBO will begin their broadcast for Superfly 3. And let me go down that lineup once again that you'll be seeing. Your main event of the night, Juan Francisco Estrada takes on Felipe Oracuta. And then for the vacant WBO title, Donnie Nietas takes on Aston Palicte. Then opening things up, Kazuto Ioka takes on Mick Williams Arroyo. So we begin round number two here. Marin taking on Escalante. We are scheduled for 10 rounds. This bout is for the vacant IBF Intercontinental Flyweight title, which basically means the winner will get a high ranking out of this.
Yeah, probably a top 15 ranking in the IBF.
Right, and their current belt holder is South African Maruti Methalane.
I think more important than the ranking is to look sharp enough and good enough to be maybe a future candidate to be in the co-main event portion of a future Superfly card.
You can see an aggressive Marin steadily getting a little bit more courageous in there, walking down Escalante. just wonder, though, Doug, I don't know if Escalante is going to be really able to dent Marin. Marin's a well-built 15-pounder.
And he seems to be the harder puncher of the two. Escalante is boxing nicely from a distance. He moves well. He's got good balance and good footwork. It's just it doesn't seem like his power shots are able to dissuade Marin in any way. Not yet, anyways. Maybe he has to time him right. Perhaps land during an exchange. And he hasn't done that yet.
Bruno just bounces in
Yeah.
the ring. He's quick, but you're right. Some of the punches have not been effective just yet.
Although that was a pretty good 1-2 he landed, Cynthia. But there's
As I was saying
yeah,
that.
but you know, there's going to come a point in time where Escalante is going to have to sit inside that pocket, and as a mouthpiece comes bouncing out, I think they're going to call a timeout, and Wayne Hedgepeth is going to look for a break in the action before calling timeout here.
Whose mouthpiece came out?
No, I'm not sure about that.
I think it might have been Marin's. He was the one sort of pointing to it. Maybe he was just being helpful to Wayne.
Wow. He doesn't mind. There we go.
Yeah, and looks like they're going to be taking it to Escalante's
Oh, it was
corner.
Escalante.
That's
Yeah.
That's what
I saw Marin point to it like
I thought
it
was
went that
his.
way. Right. That was nice of him. Oh, no, it was Marin's.
Yeah.
Oh.
That made sense. He was just taking Escalante to a neutral corner while they cleaned it off and the action was broken.
Ooh, Marin likes to really throw some blows right when the bell rings and keep on going.
Yeah, I wonder if he's loading up a little bit too much early on in this fight.
Oh, I just saw Amanda Serrano. She won her 6th world title.
Ah,
It's a
Good.
big deal.
Congratulations. That's huge when we speak about women's boxing. Good for her. Congratulations.
That is from Brooklyn, Barclays Center,
Yeah.
the undercard of Sean Porter,
And
Danny
Danny
Garcia. We
Garcia.
haven't talked about that
Yes.
card tonight.
who do you like?
I think it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go
I
with
think
Porter by
I've-
decision.
Huh.
Likewise.
Just on,
Huh.
you know, as long as they don't have the same judges that judge the Houghton Flores fight, if they give
Right?
credit for activity and aggression and body punching, I can see Porter winning a decision. But, you know, Garcia is a quality fighter. He
You
knows
know-
how to win. He's a very good counter puncher. He probably hits harder punch
Got a
for
good
punch than
left
Porter.
hook.
Yeah.
So we'll see. You know, there was something I read. Michelle Rosado, a Raging Babe, she tweeted yesterday. She read something on Twitter and she said, "I'm sticking with Danny Garcia." Something changed her mind, and I'm like, what was it that she read? Because everyone has been saying Porter.
Well, hold on. Well, Marin is starting to really
Yes, he
open
is.
up
Now
and
he is.
affecting Bruno Escalante, and he's doing it out of the southpaw stance, having a big round number 3. About that fight, guys, I can't call a Danny Garcia fight to save my life. Every time I think he wins, he loses. The only one I've ever actually prognosticated correctly was the Mauricio Herrera fight. But other than that, Danny Garcia finds ways to win. I think he's a cleaner technician,
Yeah.
the superior puncher. But I do wonder, does he have the passion to deal with the likes of Sean Porter, who's really going to smother him for 36 rounds and make it physically tough in there?
And if you remember earlier this year, there Brandon Rios, who's a totally faded veteran,
Yeah.
not a natural welterweight, had moments
Hung in there.
crowding
Yeah.
Garcia. Now, Garcia knocked him out when we got to the later rounds of that fight, once he kind of warmed up and knocked off some ring rust. But that was a blown-up lightweight who had not exactly led a Spartan lifestyle, borrowing from the nickname of Marin there. It'll be interesting to see how Garcia deals with that sort of smothering, straitjacket-like pressure of Sean Porter.
You see Marin now crouching down on the inside, digging to the body. That might be the way to really open up Escalante. It's obvious, though, he certainly has much more firepower. Keep this in mind, Escalante in 21 fights has only scored 7 stoppages, so he's not really that much of a puncher.
You see how low he got down when he was pretty low to the floor.
Well, that's one of the things that a taller fighter has to do, and they'll talk about this in the gym. When you're going to be a taller fighter getting inside, they always say make yourself small, which is another way of saying crouch and bend your knees. Good left hand by
nice,
Escalante.
yeah.
Best punch he's landed right at the bell
Nice pop.
of round number 3.
Fourth round. Play well with here's what I need you to do. Let your hands go when you got up against the ring. He's got here. Okay, just let your hands go. Stop looking for.
Marin is on the stalk, on the prowl, backing Escalante to the ropes, and he wisely goes to the body with a hook before coming up with a right-left combination. Lands the right cross. He's switching back and forth from southpaw to orthodox stance. Now in the orthodox stance, he eats a jab from Escalante. Another jab as Escalante steps to the side. Another exchange from the super flyweights.
You can see that.
Left to the body, right to the head. This is actually the same sequence, I believe, but just
Yeah.
from a different angle.
And you see that a taller fighter bending his front knee,
Yeah.
making himself small, and really just getting to work. And that might be the way he starts to really break down Escalante, who's built kind of like a fire hydrant. Short, squat, strong little guy. Fights out of the southpaw stance. We're in round number 4 now. We are scheduled for 10. Alexander Marin with the record of 16-0. 11 stoppages taking on Bruno Escalante with the ledger of 17-3-1. 7 knockouts to his credit.
I think pressure and activity very important for the Romanian fighter. If you allow a southpaw boxer whose footwork is as good as Escalante to have space to breathe and operate at his own pace, you can get outboxed. And I thought Escalante actually did that in round 2.
Round 2.
Yeah, round number 3, though, I thought was decidedly for Marin.
Nonito Donaire first managed Escalante earlier in his career.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Both guys born in the Philippines, and they reside and train in the Bay Area.
And then he didn't even know Nonito was in the WB Super Series. Like,
Yeah, it's facing Ryan Burnett. Boy, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I would really admire Nonito. I think he's going to the Hall of Fame one day based on that career.
Yeah.
It's been about 11 fights in 5 or 6 years since he's been at 118. Doug, history tells us at a certain age, you're like a one-way elevator. You're supposed to go up, not down.
Yeah,
okay?
bantamweight was the perfect weight for Donaire 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought he was explosive. He was amazing. He was pound-for-pound stuff against Fernando Montiel. But at this age and this stage of his career, light probably isn't right.
Yeah.
Oh, he just slipped with that hook. Oh, there you go. So weird when he was taunting him yesterday in the weigh-in. The whole time they didn't badmouth each other up until he got on the stage and just said, I'm going to kick your ass.
That is not that's a nasty cut that Marin has over his right eye. It's under the eyebrow. It's just above the eyelid.
Keep this in
I
mind.
think it was a clash of heads that did it, but I'm not sure.
Well, if that's the case, we are going to make this fight official in about 10 seconds or less. So this fight, if it is stopped due to an accidental clash of heads, will go to a technical decision.
How bad is this cut? Let's see.
And working the corner right there is a veteran boxing cornerman by the name of Mike Basil.
He ain't never been like this. Hurt this motherfucker twice. Do not try to knock him out. It will all come together. You box him. You box him. You understand me? You throw your hand. You close, let your hand go. He went too much to the head.
Right, that's okay. Hey, it is a fight.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not going to get him to do what you got to do. It's okay, good. They didn't do what he's got to do.
Gotta put pressure, baby.
He's got to put pressure on, okay? Listen to me, okay?
Stay still for me, huh?
Stop swinging for the hills. 3, 4,
wipe him
5
down.
shots.
Wipe him down, wipe him down, wipe him down. Hit him there, Alex.
Too strong.
That was a beautiful hook landed. That was from the orthodox stance from
there.
Escalante. Landing left hooks. And you know what? That might have produced the cut over the right eye. So this is off a punch, and that's a second one. The first hook set up the second one. And Steve, if that punch did produce that cut, and this fight is stopped because of that cut, then it's a TKO victory for Escalante.
So Escalante is emboldened in round number 4, having the best moments of his fights. Guys, what are your scorecards?
I have it 39-37 Marin.
Yeah, I have 3 rounds to 1 for Marin, even though the punch of the previous round was landed by Escalante.
And now you see Marin once again stepping forward, getting close, starting to bang the body, and trying to smother the smaller Escalante.
And it's because of sequences like this that I have Marin ahead in this fight. He's just simply outworking the older fighter, the more seasoned of the two professionals.
Yeah, and you're starting to see Escalante switch it a little bit. For a quick moment there, he was in the orthodox stance.
I think it works out for him offensively speaking. Defensively speaking, he's relatively safe in that southpaw stance when he's sticking and moving, when he's working his jab. But in order to do damage, he does a better job from an orthodox stance.
Good 1-2 by Marin.
Good back and forth action in the 5th round.
Escalante seems a little bit more willing to trade inside the pocket.
At least in the second half of the round. I thought he was soundly outworked over the first half of the round. But I like that he's going to the body.
Yeah.
See again, Escalante going to the right-handed stance, right on the inside. Switching things up.
I think it's confusing Marin a
It
little
is
bit.
to a certain degree because that power hand all of a sudden switches, the back hand. So Escalante had a pretty good second half of round number 5. It'll be interesting to see how the judges scored this particular frame.
Yeah, I think this round 5 could go either way.
Yeah, and we are halfway through, scheduled for 10 between Marin and Escalante.
Six rounds, son. 6 rounds. 6 rounds.
Working better. Okay. But better. It's good. It's good.
You need to work more.
Work. Push him back more.
There's a right cross landed by Marin,
Oh.
followed by a right cross that misses badly. And a clash of heads. Marin does come in with his head when he's swinging hooks and crosses in close.
All right, we begin the second half of this 10-rounder. Marin and Escalante battling. We are scheduled for 10. Marin letting his hands go. Escalante's backed up along the ropes. Probably not where he wants to be. Tactically, that's probably been the worst place for Escalante throughout the night.
Yeah, with his jab and his balance and footwork, he should try to keep his fight in the center of the ring and just keep turning Marin. Orbiting him, turning him, working the jab. And when he sees an opening for that left cross or that left hook from the orthodox stance, let it go.
It worked for him in what, the third round?
Yeah.
Yeah, fourth round actually. Is it third or fourth? Fourth. He's working his jab right now.
And his corner likes what they see. They feel he needs to box from a distance and that Marin will give him opportunities to tee off with power shots. But it all comes off of that jab from a distance. And they might be right.
Good right hand and another one bouncing off the head of Escalante.
I think this is going to be another one of those rounds, like round 5 was, that could go either way. It really depends on what you like.
Yeah, but I will say this, though. I do think Marin has landed the majority of hard, heavy, clean shots in this round.
When he lets his hands go. But he's let his hands go in spots, Steve. And when he's not letting his hands go, he's being outboxed by Escalante.
I have to be honest, I wish Escalante would punch a little bit more.
Right.
There's too many dead spots for him offensively.
I agree. And I think Marin is winning this round.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of the official judges scores this round for Escalante.
Just like that. Don't wait. Close out.
Action from round 6. Straight left landed by Escalante. In a rare moment where Marin is backing to the ropes. Marin's coming back. Landing hook cross combinations with Escalante's back against the ropes. Big right cross. Perhaps that's the punch of that round. And if you're going to score the round for Marin, well, this is the reason.
Yeah.
Landing the power punches whenever he has his opponent on the ropes.
Next level. Just throw your hand.
Now Escalante once again back in the orthodox stance. Couple of body shots. Again, this is where Escalante really becomes dormant offensively. Not a lot happening as his back is to the ropes.
And that's not good because Marin commits to his punches whenever he has Escalante in that position. And he's not just touching him. He's really digging with those body shots, especially those right crosses. And a lot of Escalante's defense when he's again. Oh, that was a nice left landed by Escalante. He needed that. Marin smiles at him.
Oh,
and there's another one. Don't smile, dude. Do something back.
Oh.
If you're going to smile, be like Lulu Houghton and smile on the attack.
Good right hand by Escalante.
I tell you what, when Escalante is an orthodox boxer, at least momentarily, it opens up more offensive opportunities for him.
Good left hand again by Escalante.
Yeah.
And these are eye-catching lefts that are snapping the head back.
So far, it's a good round for him. Marin looks a little tired.
No,
right?
he really does. You know, Cynthia Escalante's corner told him about a round or two ago, don't go for the knockout. You'd have to figure if they're down on the cards, we're at the stage of the fight now. He may have to just start letting his hands go more. He's having a lot of success here in round number 7.
We should note that the more experienced boxer is Escalante. He's been a pro for about 8.5 years, and I believe he's gone the 10-round distance on 3 occasions.
Oh, again.
So that's the end of round number 7. Is this a late fight rally here for Bruno Escalante? Most likely down on the scorecards early on.
Oh, every time I hear this song, I just see Eddie from Matchroom. Eddie Hearn dancing to this song.
Uh-oh. There's an image.
I know, right? It's like what they said, Coogan's like, I can't unsee this. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
There is the left that landed clean for Escalante and really began his rally in round 7, which I scored for him. It was the first round I've scored for Escalante since round number 2. He needed this. And this is from the southpaw stance. He misses with, with the left, but he connects with a right hook. And that was Escalante coming forward.
Yeah.
We need a little bit more of that from Escalante.
Doug, he's got 9 minutes, and I'm assuming he's probably behind on your scorecards and that of the official judges. He may want to start getting on that front foot.
I agree. I think he needs to win the next 3 rounds to have any hope of winning this fight. Of course, that's my very unofficial scorecard. I had Marin winning 4 rounds in a row, rounds 3 through 6. I did note that rounds 5 and 6 were close.
Yeah.
So maybe there's an official judge that has Escalante up if they scored rounds 5 and 6 for him.
And just keep this in mind, guys. We made a lot of assumptions during the Houghton-Flores fight, so we want to let everyone know our cards really don't mean that much, if anything at all.
And Dougie, you're wearing your glasses too. So.
Yes.
And I do have my contact lenses on.
I took mine off. I'm just going to watch the screen.
A couple of good right hands there by Marin. You know, based on the momentum of the last 90 seconds of round 7, you'd figured you'd see a more aggressive Bruno Escalante, but Doug, maybe that's just not what he is.
Yeah, and if you look at his record, he's lost to some guys he should have beat. He got a gift decision, in your opinion,
against Olguin,
in
yes.
his last fight, and Olguin is the guy you're supposed to shine against. And I have to assume, now in the fight with Olguin, I didn't see that. Why do you think Olguin deserved that decision?
Well, I just thought he
outwork
outworked
him?
I
Yep,
think
so
the
that's what
last
it is.
6 rounds, he simply outworked him. There was a visible gasping at the Stormhouse in Salinas, which was really a homecoming for Ruben Villa. And
that's a young prospect.
I just remember when they announced Escalante the winner, me and Beto nearly got whiplash looking at each other in astonishment.
Yeah.
And that is the end of the 8th round. It seemed to be that Marin was the one outworking Escalante throughout the 3 minutes. Okay, guys, we have 2 rounds to go. Cynthia, how do you have it?
I have it 87-75, Marin.
Yeah.
87-85, I believe. Okay, Doug, you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got. I'll spare you my math. I've got it 6 rounds to 2 after 8.
Yeah, I have it 6 rounds to 2. You know what? I'm just going to not
Alexandru
even add.
Marin.
Yeah, so it's clear if there's ever going to be a point in time where Escalante wants to change his fortunes, he's got 6 minutes to do so.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick to my rounds. Forget the math. I'll just do what you're doing, Dougie.
Well, we haven't seen any knockdowns in
Yeah.
these distance fight, these 10-round distance fights. So
That's when you
let's just
start
go by
writing
rounds.
8 and
Yeah, there you
7.
go.
So we begin round number 9, and let's see if we see a more aggressive Escalante here against Alexander Marin, who for the most part has outworked Escalante from the beginning of the fight, but Escalante certainly had his moments 2 rounds ago. And again, when they start to exchange and trade in the pocket, Escalante has success. He's actually been able to snap the head back of the bigger Marin.
And I'll say this for Escalante. He's got a good chin,
Yeah.
and he's got good skin, too. There's not a mark on his face, but he's been hit more than Marin has.
Under a minute to go here in round number 9. We are scheduled for 10.
And we're kind of silent during this round 9 because Marin is not landing with regularity. And part of that is due to the defensive prowess and the movement of Escalante. And Escalante is not returning fire enough.
You know,
certainly not enough to win the round.
You know, it's that old saying. One guy did little and the other guy was happy for it. That's kind of the way I would describe round number 9.
Yeah.
Escalante, to me, has not fought with nearly the sense of urgency that you would expect out of a guy that has the sense that he's not necessarily all that close on the cards round to round.
Yeah, I agree. Escalante needed to fight with the enthusiasm that Marin is fighting at, and Marin could use some of the pro seasoning that Escalante has.
So there you have it, 9 rounds in the books. We got one more to go, and just a friendly reminder after that, Superfly 3 will begin on HBO. That broadcast begins at 9:45 Eastern Time. And once again, that lineup, Kazuto Ioka takes on McWilliams Arroyo. Then for the vacant WBO Super Flyweight title, Donnie Nietes in All Pinoy battle takes on Aston Palikde. And then for the WBC Eliminator at 115 for the right to fight Sikraset Sorungvasai, Mexicans Juan Francisco Estrada and Felipe Orocuta do battle. That is Superfly 3. All right, 3 minutes to go. Does Escalante have a rally in his back pocket? And it is.
Alexandru Marin that's making this. I mean, he's the one who's fighting with a sense of urgency.
It seems to me like he's the one that's wanting to put the finishing touches on what's been a hard night's work. Escalante simply, in my view, has not been consistent enough throughout the 3 minutes of most rounds to win them on the judges' scorecards.
Yeah, he's had his moments. He's shown his class in flashes and spots, but he just hasn't put it all together enough to win consecutive rounds.
But it's funny when you look at it, look at Marin's face.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, just like you said, the last bout, who knows?
Coming into the last minute of this bout, and Doug, I think this is a classic example of why you shouldn't judge a fight by blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the man whose face is clean has been soundly outworked, and I believe is losing this fight. And I just don't know why Escalante is not putting his foot to the gas pedal at least a little bit more. He does have success when he comes forwards.
He needs to go into overdrive. He has less than 40 seconds.
Now Escalante standing and delivering inside the pocket, but will it be too little too late against the more consistent Alexander Marin? Escalante now coming on. Marin trying to fight back. Final seconds of what's been. Well, it's a slip. It's a slip, and well,
at least they got the crowd going.
Yeah, exactly. It gave the crowd a jolt.
Did something.
At least it's dramatic.
And there you have it. 10 rounds in the books. Marin Escalante. And guys, I get the sense it was Marin controlling most of the action and who should have his hands raised in victories. What are your cards?
I have it 8 rounds to 2 for Alexandru Marin.
I have the same.
I thought Escalante fought well in the final 45 seconds or final minute of the final 10th round of this bout. But as you said, Steve, it's too little too late.
Yep, I have 107, 104. There, I did the math correctly. I hope I did it right.
Yeah, Escalante landing some nice lefts as he's holding and hitting during a clinch. And here's the, we think it's a knockdown. And it was ruled a slip, but let's see what happened here in the closing seconds of this 10-round fight. Yeah, more like a push down.
But,
It didn't look like it was off a punch.
yeah. But still, it gave us a reaction.
It did, and it also lets you know that Marin was tired.
Oh, you know what? There was a slight little left hand.
Kind of, yeah.
It may have been a push. They may have tripped feet, but you could tell Marin at the end was very worn down.
Tired.
I think, listen, he's 16-0. I think he's going to move on to being 17-0. He's definitely more of a prospect than a contender.
Yeah.
If you recall at the start of this live stream, Steve, I said this is more of an audition than an intercontinental title fight, an audition to be on a future Superfly card. I don't think either guy is really worthy or ready yet. I don't think Marin is ready. And Escalante, clean face there, boxed well in spots, but you know what? He is what he is. He's more of a solid 8 to 10 round pro than a contender.
Yeah.
Judges' scorecards. Carla Caiz has it, 96-94 for Marin. Jonathan Davis, 97-93, Escalante. Alejandro Rochin has it 98-92 for your winner by split decision. He is now the IBF Super Flyweight Intercontinental Champion and still undefeated, Alexandru Marin.
Well, the right guy won the fight, Steve. In our humble estimation.
Yeah.
I expect more from California judges. I got to be honest with you. I mean, it's like they're looking at a certain style and saying, well, this guy's sticking and moving around. He's the boxer, so he must be winning these rounds. And it's like, no, you score a round for the guy landing the clean, solid punches.
Doug, I have a hard time believing that Escalante won 7 rounds. But anyway, Alexander Marin now goes to 17-0, and he adds a belt to his collection.
Yeah.
All right, still a lot of boxing to come up here at the Forum. Superfly 3 will begin. And let us wrap up the evening. It's been a fun undercard.